and welcome to the Marketing Report. This is episode number 10. The Marketing Report is the podcast for passionate yet frustrated business owners, helping them get a competitive edge. And today I want to talk about a number of different things, but in particular, I want to talk about why I'm doing what I'm doing. See, back, about 4 years ago, I had a bit of an incident lying in bed, staring at the ceiling at 1 a.m. and wondered to myself, how did I get here? And the how did I get here was not where I was in the bed. It was in hospital, and I'd been in there a week earlier. They hadn't caught the problem. I came in 7 days later with a fairly critical condition. But lying in the bed, staring at the ceiling in that hospital, the how did I get there wasn't about the hospital itself. It was about my life and the scenario I found myself in, which was a very unhappy one. And that was in many areas of my life, in particular the business that I had created. We'd created a fairly successful business from all accounts. But what I had done is I'd grabbed onto what I thought was success, which was via the Australian dream. And I'd done a whole lot of hard work over the last 10 years to build this business really in someone else's model of success and not my own. So I'd built this ladder and put it up against the wrong wall and found that I was pretty unhappy with what I had created. And that started a journey for myself, which brought me through to here and really doing what I really now love and working with clients I love working with. And really, the essence of that is working in spaces that help passionate business owners reignite what they're doing. And so I've been having to think of late as to what that means and how could I define that? What are the specific phrases that I would use? So I've been doing a bit of homework and I've really come down to sort of a core essence of what it is. So there's things that I am for, and there's things that I'm really against. And I think now the essence of what I'm fighting for is the ability for business owners to really chase their dreams, and not just someone else's vision of dream, not someone else's version of why, and certainly not trying to appeal to that whole why statement, but getting very much in touch with the reason for them starting the business in the first place and reigniting that passion that sparked all that hard work that got them to leave whatever job they're in to start the business that they're now in. Because when I speak to business owners now, you tend to find that they're very frustrated about the scenario that they've built around them. And it's usually because of all these spot fires that they're now putting out, and because they've either settled because things were difficult, or they've moved in a direction towards money, and then in the end of the day found that it's more draining for them to be in that space rather than be in some natural space. And they're really, it's not about having midlife crisis as such, but actually realizing that there is limited time for them to achieve what they want to achieve, and refocusing on what that needs to be and getting very clear about what is the next step. Because that's what it's all about now, is what is the next step for you in moving toward that dream business. Because we may never get there, but the closer we get to that dream business, the easier it's going to be, and the less energy it's going to take to build. So the things that I've been looking at and the things that I'm for and against have got a bit of clarity around them now. So number one in particular is passion. So I am for passion. I am for passionate businesses. Whether you're frustrated or whether you're just full of joy, I don't mind where the passion comes from, but I want to work with people who are passionate, because the flip side of that is I'm completely against apathy. I can't stand working with people who are ho-hum about what's going to happen. They don't really care. And so classic employee mentality of people just opting out of caring and decision making kills me from the inside. So I can't work with people who are in that space. So if you're someone who cares, if you cared very deeply, even to the point of anger in some cases, I'm more than happy to work with you. But if you really don't care about the future of what's happening, at the end of the day, what's it all for anyway? Unless you're ready to reignite that fire that is actually the passion that got you to start your business in the first place, then I can't work with you. It's as simple as that. The other thing I'm for hard work. So nothing comes without a price. You need to put hard work in to actually create things. If they're given to you, they'll often just go away because you didn't build the muscles that you needed to hold on to something. If it was just given to you, you actually need to work through a process to get something, and in the process of that, either working through a learning or actually learning through the muscles that you needed to create to hold on to whatever you got. Now, the flip side of that is the whole idea of entitlement. So entitlement is another one that gets under my skin. So people who expect or have an expectation about what they deserve. You're not entitled to anything. People aren't. You don't deserve anything. You need to work for what you want. You need to be very clear about what you're trying to get, and then you need to go out and work and become the person that you need to become to get what you want. Which then leans into my next one, which is I am for action. I am for action takers. People who are willing to move forward, even if they're going to stumble a little, even if they're going to make some mistakes along the way. I'm for that constant practice of motion, creating momentum, because what I'm against is excuses and reasons to stop you from starting. So I'm against excuses, but I'm very much for action. So even if you don't have all the information, act in momentum toward a goal will actually move you into a space so that when you have all that information, you can actually move with speed and you can implement things. Excuses will not allow you to start in the first place, which means you will never be able to achieve what you're after. Another thing I'm for, so I'm for color. And what does that mean? That means I am for all different shades and types of people. I'm for all different shades and types of opinions. I'm looking for colorful, whether that be language, whether that be personalities. I need color in my life, because what I'm against is beige. And beige really comes from appropriate or trying to be appropriate. It comes from professional or trying to be professional. What I would love people to be is themselves, and therefore colorful in their different variations. So I'm for color. I am against beige. And then that moves into the final part, which is I'm for real. I am for people who are being real, being themselves. Now, that's not an excuse to be an asshole. That means that you are real in your thoughts, feelings, passions, and opinions. Now, that doesn't mean you don't need to learn how to communicate those opinions. That doesn't mean you don't need to meet people where they're at. You can't just tell people what you think. If you want to engage someone, you need to engage them where they're at. And if they don't have your understanding of a situation, you need to engage them where they currently are and help move them to there, rather than just shouting and yelling at people. But I'm for being real. So be real, be yourself, don't wear the mask. So the masks is what I'm against, and that's I have to admit, something that I probably did a lot over the last 10 years, which is put a mask on. I put the mask on of what it meant to be professional or what it meant to be appropriate within my own business settings. And I played the role and I acted the part, rather than being very real about who I am and what I enjoy. And so I didn't share my passions. I didn't share my geeky side. I didn't share the things that I love. I didn't share the things that I hate. I didn't share things that were potentially going to embarrass me. And therefore, every day was a bit of a struggle, because I was always having to put this mask on and go and pretend when I went to work. So now I'm suggesting we should take the mask off, be very real about who we are, with an understanding that everybody else has their own point of view. Everybody else is different. So if we want to communicate to these other people, we need to learn that skill and actually practice that muscle, so we communicate and engage those people where they're at. So in essence, what I am for passionate yet frustrated business people who want to forge a competitive edge. And really the forging comes from the passion I've developed over the last 4 years around blacksmithing. And so for anybody who's not across the fact that I am an amateur blacksmith, get ready to learn a whole bunch about me, because I love moving hot metal. There is something that is very therapeutic about the process of craft, even if you're not that good at it, because this is something that I went in without any skill whatsoever. But I learnt the craft, or I am learning the craft as I go. It is something that I do not expect to ever master, because I think once you actually find something like this, it's not something you can master. There will always be a way that you can get better. There is mastery, and I've seen some very masterful creations or craftings from people who are in the blacksmithing industry, but there is no mastery, because every single one of those masters is continuing to learn and will always get better in some way. So I'm all about forging. Now, what is forging? Forging is about moving metal and reshaping metal. And it's a process of taking it through heat. It's taking it through pressure and pounding, and it changes the shape and in fact strengthens the steel to make it or give it a very hard and refined edge. So what I'm trying to do in the business space is very much the same. I want to help people through a forging process really become the best, most hardened yet tempered means flexible, version of themselves, so that they can have a competitive edge within their own marketplace. They can actually perform very well as functional people within a competitive marketplace. So forging is what it's all about. And that's what's led me to create something which I've just started a pilot program for this week, which is The Forge. Now, The Forge is a program that's going to be ongoing. And really what it is it's a focus program to help passionate business people get very focused on what they're going to do this week. Now, I'm running a pilot program, which I'm starting right now, and it's going to run through till mid-February, which is when we're going to be launching The Forge in a more formal way. But if you want to get involved on the ground floor as far as being involved in what The Forge will become, then I would invite you to get in contact with me either through the website, or you can contact me on Facebook, which is Russell Pearson Speaker on Facebook. And The Forge is going to be a weekly focus on your activities. It's going to be a private group where we're going to have resources, everything you need to get the focus and the passion back into your business, so that each week you will take one step forward to that business of your dreams. I'm incredibly excited about what we're creating. There's people already engaging, and they're already coming into the pilot program. And this is going to be something that has an opportunity to be global. So this is not an Australian offering, this is a global offering, and people from the US in particular and a couple of other countries have already contacted me to start the process of getting involved. So if you'd love to get involved in the Forge pilot program, please reach out to me, and we can have a bit of a chat as to whether you are the right type of person who wants to be in this program, because it won't be for everybody. It'll be for a certain style of person, and it's for a person who's probably a bit frustrated, potentially a little bit angry, because they've built this ladder and it's up against a wall that they're really not happy about. They want to tear the mask off their face. They actually want to be real in their business. They want to redirect their business to that passion that they originally put into it at the very, very start. I want to ignite that spark again. I want to get people moving in the direction of their dreams, and I want to get that happening now. So if you want to be part of that program, reach out to me and we can get started. Thank you so much for being involved in this episode. This is episode number 10. If you want to find out more about me, you can find me at russellpearson.com, also on the Facebook group, also in LinkedIn and on YouTube. So if you're watching the video version of this, you already know that I'm on YouTube. If you're listening to the audio version of this, there is a video version which you can find on YouTube, and just look for Russell Pearson and the Marketing Report. Until next time, continue to chase those passions, and I will catch you on the next episode. Make sure to visit russellpearson.com for more podcast episodes, videos, and more. russellpearson.com.